My name is Ndagire Nisha. I'm in senior one and I'm a geography student at Nabisinsa Girls School. And today I want to share with you some information about the earth and its movements. I'm going to share with you some pics in my gallery that I got from my study. And yes, today we are talking about the earth and its movements. Well, the earth is one of the planets in the solar system. And the solar system is the collection of 8 planets and their moons in orbit around the sun, together with smaller bodies in form of asteroids, meteoroids, and comets. Well, asteroids are small rocky bodies orbiting the sun, and meteoroids are objects in shape that range in size from grains to small asteroids. Comets are basically dusty snowballs which orbit the sun. Well, the solar system has got 8 planets, and these 8 planets are grouped into 2. That is terrestrial planets and the Jovian planets. Well, in the terrestrial planets, we have Mercury. Mercury is the smallest planet in the solar system, and Mercury is the closest to the sun, and it has the shortest orbit around the sun. The second planet among the terrestrial planets is Venus. It is said to be the hottest planet due to the atmosphere of carbon and extensive lava flows in it. The other terrestrial planet is Earth. The Earth is the third planet in the solar system, and it is said to be the only planet full of life due to the conditions it has. For instance, it has oxygen, water, and warm temperature. The other terrestrial planet is Mars. Mars is also called a red planet because of its red color. It is a home to some of the largest dust storms which can continue for months and cover the whole planet. It is said that Mars had once supported life about 3.7 billion years ago. It once had a watery surface and a moist atmosphere. The other group of planets in the solar system is the Jovian planets. The Jovian planets are subdivided into 2 groups. The Jovian planets, these Jovian planets are planets that have multiple moons, support rings, and lack a solid surface. These Jovian planets are subdivided into 2 groups, as I had said earlier, namely gas giants and ice giants. Gas giants include Jupiter and Saturn. These are predominantly helium and hydrogen. Then the ice planets are Uranus and Neptune. They contain rock ice and liquid mixture of methane, water, and ammonia. Those are the 8 planets in the solar system. But before, in the 90s, it was said that there were 9 planets, and the 9th planet was called Pluto. Though later that scientists discovered that it was not worthy to be called a planet because it lacked one of the criteria of planets. The planets have 3 criteria, namely a celestial body to be a planet. It must be spherical in shape. It should revolve around the sun. And the third criteria of planet is the area around its orbit should be clear, and should not have any equivalent or bigger celestial body, meaning that with the help of its gravity, the planet should clear asteroids and dwarf planets out of its gravity. Yes, Pluto did have some of the criteria, but it did not meet the third criteria, and that was it was a dwarf planet. Its gravitational force wasn't able to clear asteroids and other dwarf planets in its way. But Pluto isn't the only one to be called a dwarf planet. Yes, in the Kuiper belt near Pluto, scientists discovered 2 other planets that act like Pluto, and those were Haumea and Makemake. But not only that, in 2005, the explorers discovered a new space object that acted like Pluto, and it was called Ceres. Yes, all these new found space objects acted like Pluto, but they were nowhere similar to the solar planets. Yes, and today I basically want to talk about the Earth. And yeah, the Earth is the Earth moves in different ways, and one of the ways the Earth moves is by spinning on its axis. Axis is an imaginary line passing through the center of the Earth, connecting it to the North and South Pole. The spinning movement is called rotation. As it rotates, one part faces the sun, meaning that it's daytime, and the other part is facing away from the sun, which means it's night. Here is a cool fact. The planets in the solar system rotate about their axis at different speeds, which means that the length of a day on each planet is different. One day on Jupiter takes 10 Earth hours, and one day on Venus takes 22,043 Earth days. The axis is tilted at the Earth's axis is tilted at an angle of 23.5 degrees, and the Earth rotates on its axis every day. And to make one complete rotation, it takes 24 hours, and here on Earth, 24 hours make up a day. That is 23 hours, 56 minutes, and 4.9 seconds. Well, have you ever asked yourself, what if the Earth suddenly stopped spinning? The first thing to get affected is the atmosphere. Well, how is the atmosphere going to be affected? As we know, the Earth is constantly rotating at the speed of nearly 1,100 miles per hour, and with it moves our atmosphere. So if the Earth stops spinning on its axis, the atmosphere will still be in motion with the Earth's actual speed at the equator. Due to this, all of land masses will be washed clean off anything not attached to bedrock, and we will see the whirlwind of stones, and trees, buildings, topsoil, animals, and people too sailing into the atmosphere, which will suddenly lead to death of some. Yeah, actually yes, it will lead to death because some rocks, as we are sailing in the wind, some rocks can hit us and our animals can die too. The next immediate impact will be the Earth's centrifugal force, responsible for its tidal barges around the equator. So if the Earth suddenly stops spinning, this collected water will spread across the gravitational force at the strongest, causing massive waves of it will cause massive waves of tsunami, as you can see in the photograph above. That is how a tsunami looks like. And we leave behind a gigantic dried up supercontinent in the middle of our planet. Due to this, everything north of Spain would be underwater, and as well as south of Antarctica. As you can see, when the water spreads across the gravitational force, it will leave our continent dried up. As you can see, like Africa, it's right there, and it's dried up due to because of the fact that the water has spread across the gravitational force, like the North Pole and the South Pole. That is where the gravitational force is strongest. So that's where the water will collect, and we shall stay there with dried up land. And apart from the natural disasters, another challenge that will happen is one full day of sunlight for an entire year. I mean, like, when the Earth stops spinning on its axis, we shall have 6 months of sunlight and 6 months of night. And at last, disastrous outcome will be the end of magnetic field. Many scientists believe that the Earth's rotation creates magnetic field that protects the Earth by deflecting the harmful solar winds coming from the sun. So without this shield around our globe, the deadly addiction will rupture the ozone layer and eventually burn all living things on our planet, turning it into a hump of wood, a hump of mud, as you can see right there. The ozone layer is what protects the Earth what protects people from the ozone layer is a layer that protects us from direct sun rays, because the sun rays from the sun are hot, like really really hot, and if they come onto us directly without the ozone layer, once the ozone layer is burnt, we are going to be burnt directly, and the Earth will be burnt to zero. And another movement of the Earth is the revolution of the Earth. The revolution of the Earth is the orbiting of the Earth around the sun. Like the Earth moves around the sun. That is what we call revolution. And for the Earth to complete one revolution, that will take 365 days. And on Earth here, that is a year. And the revolution of the Earth affects us. How? How does it affect us? It affects us by causing seasons. We have different seasons because of the revolution of the Earth around the sun, and these seasons include summer. The seasons include summer, winter. That is summer, and then winter, and then autumn, and then also spring. Well, once the Earth's axis tilts towards the sun, the northern hemisphere experiences summer and the southern hemisphere experiences winter. Same, that is the vice versa. When the Earth's axis tilts away from the sun, the northern hemisphere faces winter and the southern hemisphere faces summer. And well, summer, when we are having summer in the northern hemisphere, we are having winter in the southern hemisphere, and when we are having autumn in the southern hemisphere, we are having spring in the northern hemisphere, and the vice versa. Well, here on Earth, we have very many different activities that take place, and very many physical features on the Earth. So far, I've managed to get you those ones. Well, we have the water bodies. People carry out fishing from the water bodies. As you can see, there is a river over there. People carry out fishing. People carry out farming. And then we have a look at the houses the houses and the trees. Well, people get wood from the trees that they use to build the houses, to make the timber that they use to build their houses, and the land, of course, people use it for cultivation. And obviously the trees, like some trees provide us with fruits that we feed on, and then some trees are also used as local herbs. Yes, some trees have leaves, and their leaves can be used as local herbs, and even the tree itself, the stem can be used as medicine. It can be eaten as food. Well, I want to show you a video of farming. Well, there you have it. We carry out farming on land. As you can see, we carry out farming on land. As you can see, that's a banana plantation, and once it's ready, it's going to be if we want, we can sell it to get money. for our essentials, or if we want, we can take it home for consumption. And another thing I hadn't shown you is the fence. Well, the fence, as you can see, it is protecting, like, for instance, if you have kids in that area, kids living in that house, well, you can see that fence, like, it protects them from, like, going to the water body, because once they go there, young kids, as you know them, they can easily play around and then maybe fall into the water body. And then the houses there, they are used for shelter. People sleep there, and they are also used, and they are also, yeah, for shelter at night. That's where people go to rest after coming from their places of work. And then the other activity that I would like to share with you is fishing. Fishing, this is how, as you can see, that man has cast his fishing net into the water body, and he's picking some fish. That fish is, he will either take it home for consumption, or if he wants, he can sell it, or if he wants, he can give it to charity, to the needy people. That's all I had for you today. I hope you liked the video, and I hope you've been able to learn from it, and you've been able to know about the earth, its movement, rotation, and revolution. Thank you. I hope to present to you next time. Bye bye.